Now, a comment came through on one of my other videos asking what would happen if you charge it from the top port and the bottom port at the same time. Now, to say I'm nervous is an understatement. I haven't done this before, so I'm going to do it live on camera just in case it all blows up. I tried searching on Google, but I didn't get anywhere. I'm sure somebody has done it already worldwide, or maybe hundreds of people have done it, but I honestly don't know what's going to happen. I'm hoping that it's going to be clever enough to realize that somebody has plugged in two things, because maybe somebody might have it in the dock and then they accidentally plug in the charger on the top, or it might be charging on the top and then they plug it into a dock. So I'm sure Nintendo's thought of this. So we have the Switch 2 power supply and we have the Switch 1 power supply. To begin with, I'm just going to plug in the Switch 2, make sure it's charging from the top and the bottom. So there we go, console battery 78%, so it's charging there. And let's plug it into the bottom. And console battery 78%. So 100% it charges when we use the Switch 2, which is obvious. Now let's plug in the Switch 1 power supply. And let's plug it in at the bottom. And that's charging 78%. And put it in the top one. 78%. Right, let's be brave. The reason I do it is because it saves you doing it. If I break it, at least I might get a few pennies from the video itself. So now, let's plug it in here. You can see it's charging. What's going to happen when we do the top one? Are you ready? Excellent. Nothing. So I wonder, does it cut power? Let's unplug that. There was no break there. Let's do it the other way around. So let's do this one in the bottom. I shouldn't really be doing this. And now, so that's charging there. Let's plug this one in the top now. So this is the proper Switch 2 in the top. Yeah, it's still just charging. Whether it's charging more or not, I highly doubt it. I presume it's going to take whatever is the most powerful source and run with that. And now, let's unplug the bottom. Yeah, it makes no difference. There's no break here. That's interesting. Okay, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Let me just get an amp meter. Let's see whether or not it makes any difference to this port here. So I'm plugging this in here now. And plugging this in. Right, so it's livened up. And it's 15 volts at only 20 milliamps or 30 milliamps. Yeah, so 0.02. It went to 0.03 for a minute. Now it's gone to 0. Oh, it went to 0 there. Okay. So let's unplug the bottom and see if that makes any difference there. So here we go. Wow, it's gone up to, look at that, it's gone up to 1.18 amps. So there you go, now it's taken all its charging from there. So it must have by default been taking its charge from the bottom one. Now that this is fully charging here, you can see that that's charging at a huge amount now. 1.1, well there you go, 1.29, it's growing. So that's over 1 amp at 15 volts. That's huge. Right, okay, let's now plug this in and see if it makes any difference. Will it drop down? Will it take this one? Yeah, it drops down. So it looks like this one might be the one that takes priority. So I'll tell you what we're going to do now is unplug that, jump straight back up again, instantly jump back up, and let's plug this into the bottom. And let's see when we plug in the top whether it affects it down here. So hopefully the camera can just about see the figures at the bottom there. Let's plug in the top so you can see it's 1 amp at the moment. What happens when we plug in the top? Absolutely no difference at all. So it looks like the bottom charger is the main charger, because you can see it makes no difference on the top. Right, now what we're going to do is let's plug in this into the, let's see now, if I plug in this into the top with the Nintendo Switch 1 in the top, Switch 1. So you can see even the Switch 1 now is charging at 1.2 amps. So it looks like it is still, it's 15 volts at 1.2 amps. And that's on the Switch 1, which is, I wasn't expecting that. Okay. So that's quick charging there. And let's go, well, I don't know if it's quick charging, but it's charging a lot. Now let's go in here and see, is this going to take priority over this here now? Yes, and it goes right the way down. So 100% the bottom takes priority over the top, which is interesting. But when you unplug the bottom, I really like that. So they've thought about that, and they've made sure that you can't damage it. Now, obviously, don't try it yourself at home because it's not designed to be plugged into both at the same time, but that's really interesting to me. So it looks like no matter what, bottom takes priority over the top port when it comes to charging, and we wouldn't have known that if it wasn't for this little amp meter. And what's interesting is I've just connected up my phone via the USB amp meter, and you can see that it is actually charging at 5 volts at half an amp. So not bad. That's without this being charged at all. And if I plug in the switch 1 power supply, this is now charging. That hasn't jumped up, but you can charge this independently of that. Let me plug in the switch 2 power supply, see if that changes up here at all. No, again, so you can see that 5 volts at half an amp, it looks like it is actually charging my phone. Yeah, obviously it's not fast charging it. It's just 23% and it's going to take 5 hours to be full, but it looks like it is possible to charge something, but clearly at this moment in time anyway, it's not designed for that. I'm only doing this as a bit of an experiment to see what you can and can't do. But yeah, very interesting. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Thanks for watching.